So long story short, I've got Crohn's or IBD, which stands for inflammatory bowel disease. It's actually an autoimmune disorder. I didn't want to make this video, guys, just to clarify, because I don't really want to be known as the guy with Crohn's, but I've had some time to reflect on it. So I'll give you a brief update on my life. I think I've been posting a lot of things, mainly positive. This one is, I'm not going to say it's a negative, because alhamdulillah, again, it's a test from God at the end of the day, but you know, just some transparency, because I don't know, I wanted to keep it between me and the people that I know, but I just thought, you know what, I've had some time to think about it, and it just makes sense to sort of share my experience with this, because potentially, again, having done some self-reflection, I think it might be beneficial for other people to learn more about IBD, because again, it's an autoimmune condition, which means it's lifelong, and it pertains to the gastrointestinal tract all the way up to the mouth. So I had a colonoscopy recently for a camera. This is some mad detail. It was all a very taboo topic, yeah, because the symptoms I was having are quite awkward. You don't really want to discuss them with people that don't really know you personally. But as I said, because I've done some self-reflection, there are people that go through this sort of thing, and it may be beneficial to you guys to know that I'm experiencing it, and I'm also on the journey to try and go into remission, Insha Allah. And basically, I just live a healthy lifestyle without letting this autoimmune condition be detrimental to me in any particular way. But yeah, long story short, since September 2024, I've had dodgy stomach, okay? Most likely because I went on holiday, and I was in a bulk phase then, so I was eating around 4,000 calories on a daily basis. But again, you can see I've lost a lot of weight. People have been telling me I've got dark circles under my eyes. Am I tired? There is an element of that, but I think it's because I lost a substantial amount of weight. Yeah, it's not ideal, but like the shirts don't really fit me anymore. But alhamdulillah, I'm lean, I'm lighter. But I've got a lot of joint pains and things. So since then, I had loose stools, fatigued. I was training really intensely. I just wasn't recovering. I went to my GP, told them, look, this is what's happening. I'm eating X amount of calories. I'm still losing weight. Because when you're in a bulk phase, you don't want to eat too much rubbish because you can put fat on. But I was kind of loving it for the first couple of weeks, because I was eating whenever I wanted to, because I was so strict, so disciplined, and I was eating whenever I want to. I didn't take any antibiotics from the bug I received on holiday. Maybe I should have. Again, with these autoimmune conditions, I've spoken to multiple professionals, medical professionals now, who have said that, you know, because I like to take accountability and responsibility, I think, look, if I've got a condition, it's probably because it's something I've done wrong, and I'm usually quite harsh on myself like that, and you know, because I like to hold myself accountable. But the truth is, they've said it's an autoimmune condition. Whether you did that or not, you're probably going to get it at some point, because you know, one of your markers was indicative, or there's a hereditary component to it. Either way, I've got the autoimmune condition, but the symptoms I was experiencing was, again, loose stools, fatigue, joint pains, which I still have now, and they're probably the most annoying things, because I train a lot and I want to keep my muscle mass, but it's just annoying when your joints are there. But alhamdulillah, I've got ways around it. I want to strengthen them and rehab them. So not just focusing on hypertrophy, I'm going to focus on strengthening my joints, which you can do. Anyway, since September 2024, I've had loose stools, and it's been the case all the way up until Ramadan. So the 12th day into Ramadan, this is the month where Muslims fast. Usually fasting for me is very easy. But while I was fasting, because it was 2 large meals, one in the morning and one in the evening, when I had the first meal, I'd be really lethargic and tired. And then as I'm fasting throughout the day, because there's no water, I'd still be training, just feeling really, really malaised, like it's just very abnormal for me. And then I eat my meal for iftar, and then I'm just doing loads and loads of steps up and down the stairs. Everyone's like, what's wrong with this guy? It's because I couldn't digest it. And I was like, yo, I'm not getting any energy. I'm not getting nourishment from this food. I don't know what's going on. I'm eating it. And then I'd go to Tarweeh and I'd just be slumped. And people can't really tell, because I still look the same size, the same, you know, vigor that I have. And it wasn't very good. And then after the 12th day, you know, I just had some mad stomach pains. Could not stand up, couldn't stand up. And I don't like to exaggerate, but that's the way I had to speak to the GP over the phone, because they were like, oh yeah, come back in, we'll do some tests. But luckily, look, if you ever have symptoms like this, you have to, unfortunately, because the way NHS is now, it's a lovely service, don't get me wrong. I'm not his biggest fan, you know, but alhamdulillah, we have something like the NHS. But you really have to, almost feels like exaggerating your symptoms. But I wasn't even exaggerating. I just found it difficult to be truthful because I mask my symptoms a lot of the time. Either way, that happened. They thought it was appendicitis. I was like, well, I think it's one of three things. Either parasite, because of the holiday I went on, IBS, or IBD. That's what my take was. But they referred me for appendicitis because she was touching my stomach here saying, you got pain there? I was like, yeah, dude. She's like, yeah, definitely appendicitis. Thankfully that they got that wrong, that I went to see the hospital and on the same day, and they did a CT scan to find out I've got an inflamed ileum, ileitis, so possibly Crohn's disease, which is inflammatory bowel disease, or comes under the banner of IBD. Now, not to be confused with IBS. IBS is also like a debilitating condition, but it doesn't affect your joints, you know, proper absorption. You get like a little bit of a flare up because of certain intolerances, whereas IBD is autoimmune. It's, you know, there's not much information on it at the moment, which is why I wanted to share this with you guys, because, you know, what foods am I to eat, to consume, to keep my muscle mass, build my muscle mass, get it back to where I was before. I'm 77 kilograms now. I was 83 before, so 6 kg down. I'd say a lot of that was muscle mass, which is unfortunate because it takes me a solid year to build around 2-3 kg. So I've lost basically 2 years of progress. But yeah, so IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, not inflammatory bowel disease. IBS is irritation of the bowel lining. Again, you know, that's similar but different, if that makes sense. So autoimmune condition, lifelong, is IBD. Some people have bowel resections because their bowel gets so inflamed, but I'm going to really do the research. Every consultant I've spoken to, they haven't really advised me on what nutrition, which is what kind of frustrates me a little bit, because I'm like, what can I eat? And they're like, anything. That sounds pretty silly, if you ask me, because if I was on a diet of 12, you know, fizzy drinks, cola bottles a day, that's not a balanced diet. You should definitely have some information, but luckily the Crohn's and colitis website has been good, and alhamdulillah, my family's been supportive. Again, if you're from an Asian household, it's going to be pretty tricky because the food that I'm eating now is very bland, it's not processed, and yeah, it's going to be very different for people in your family to be on board. That's why it's good for someone like me. This is the introspection I've had, the wisdom. I think that the reason why Allah has given me this particular condition, yes, it's a test for me, but it's also a reminder to you guys that, you know, someone that considers themselves to be healthy can still get an autoimmune condition, and there's ways that they can manage it. Like, I'm grateful to Allah. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying why me. I'm just like, why me? Like, is there wisdom? Of course there's a wisdom. The wisdom is this, like, you know, if you have an autoimmune condition like this, Crohn's, and you're thinking, you know, it's going to really contract your lifestyle, I'm here to sort of, inshallah, give you some hope that no, it won't. And again, this page is not for Crohn's, colitis, IBD, but again, it's something that I do have, and I may touch on it again in the future in other videos, just to keep you guys updated. But yeah, like I said, feel free if you've got any advice for me, because I'm early days into it. I've just almost finished off my first course of steroids, which I was reluctant to take. Trust me, they're not anabolic steroids, they're just anti-inflammatory ones, and I don't want to be on them long term. It was an 8-week course. But yeah, if you guys have any advice for me, I would genuinely appreciate it and kind of feel a bit more relieved. The reason why I wanted to make the video as well is because people that know me, yeah, I'm repeating myself over and over again, but now, you know, I've just explained my symptoms. Hopefully I won't have to talk about it or repeat myself again. Do you get me? But yeah, thank you. Please make dua for me. That's the main thing. And yeah, hopefully, inshallah, I can be of benefit to you guys, and we can share the knowledge that we have on this particular condition.